Hi, almost lost you. Hey guys, it's Tracy coming to you today to follow up on yesterday's take on wellness. So yesterday, just to summarize, I had asked you to focus on just the pillars of wellness at Hippo Social Club, and that would be the pillar of fuel, the pillar of movement, and the pillar of connection. And so I highlighted mine, and that's what I'm going to use today for your share. But you will be able to also create your own wellness practice or your prescription of wellness based on your highlighted pillar, just using my share as inspiration of how do we now begin to take that spotlighted pillar. So for me, it's going to be fuel, so food, and then how do we use those 5 branches of nourishment to also support that highlighted pillar. And for me, this is what it looks like. And there could be 100 different ways to do it, but in the mindset that I'm in, I'm going to come off the top with what is going to work for me in the season that I'm currently in. So going through that first branch of nourishment, but in no particular order, is edible. So on that edible side of nourishment, what is one thing that I could do immediately to be able to influence how I eat, what I eat, when I eat, in a way that is going to continue to feed and fuel my wellness as opposed to my sickness and inflammation? That would be to just the environments that I'm in. So I'll give the example of my home. So one thing that I can do is to make sure that I don't bring any food into my home that is going to test my willpower, and making sure that I'm only bringing in whole foods, nutrient-dense foods. That's the edible branch of nourishment. One thing to influence me in a positive way to support the fuel pillar where I feel deficient this week. On the social side of things, how does the social branch of nourishment come into edible, into food? Well, maybe that's where you determine you have a really hard time when you eat your meals and you're out maybe with a client or a friend, and most of the time when you're social and when you're eating, you can have a tendency maybe to overeat. Okay, so on the social branch of nourishment, maybe that's where you lean in and you say, okay, well, when I eat my meals, I'm going to eat my meals at home in front of a table off of a screen. And then when I am going to be social, I'm going to make sure that I'm intentional that those social environments that I am in, if they do not support me in good food choices, I will make sure I plan ahead to eat better before I socialize. On the flip side of that, you might find that eating and sharing a meal or cooking for your family or a friend or hosting some kind of social event where it is encouraged to bring something that is home cooked and nutrient dense may also be where you lean in on the other side. Maybe you use that social branch of nourishment to influence an opportunity to be in community. All right, there's been a lot of data that proves that if you eat in a social setting around those that you want to be around, it'll help release oxytocin, endorphins. So again, on the physiological level, you are adding to your wellness just by sharing a meal socially and intentionally. Kinetic. Let's see. So how does that relate to the fuel pillar for me? I'm going to rationalize that for me in a way that it'll make sense to me and it means something to me, because wellness is personal at the end of the day. I'm just giving you my share. So on the kinetic side, when I prioritize eating nutrient-dense meals, when I prioritize separating emotion from food and food just becomes fuel, it influences my kinetic branch in a very positive way, because what I eat directly influences how I perform. On the other side of that, when I make choices that are, whether I go outside the lines, I have a cheat meal, I indulge, know that also influences me on the kinetic side, where it's harder for me to perform optimally. So for me, if fuel is going to be the pillar that's highlighted, and it is, I would say that I am going to be even more conscious of putting good food into my body, because I know that I'm going to perform better in my workouts, which in turn is a full circle thing. It will inspire me to eat better because I feel better when I eat better. You still here? All right. So on the experiential branch of nourishment and how it might relate to that fuel pillar in food, try something different. If you're someone that struggles with going out to dinner and then you just feel that you can't make a good choice because you don't know where you're going and you don't know what the menu looks like, maybe that's your experiential branch of nourishment. Plan ahead. Pull up the menu online. Take a look at it. Know before you go. Know what you can order And then when you arrive at that dinner, you already have a plan in place. You already know what you're ordering. It kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it instead of just being reactive to the environment that's in front of you. And if there is no opportunity for you to eat well, but the fuel and the food is where you really want to spotlight, then again, eat before you go or plan to eat after you go. And then on the biophilic, on the connection to nature, when it comes in terms of the fuel pillar, I've talked about this before. I'm going to try and hit a market this week. I'm going to hit a local market this weekend. I'm going to make a relationship with someone new. I'm going to support the markets where I already have relationships with those that sell great products and great foods that I know is going to nourish me. So that's one example of highlighting the fuel pillar and then being able to branch out into those nourishment branches, and then to be able to come up with a prescription for wellness that is going to work for you because it's personal to you and you've come up with that prescription to support the pillar where you're deficient. All right, if you like that share today, I'd love to know how you incorporated it in your prescription for wellness. I'd like to know, where do you feel deficient this week? Where do you feel undernourished? Is it in fuel? Is it in movement? Is it in connection? And until next time, live well. I will see you on the flip side.